I had to get my hair cut, and then it cut off because my phone overheated. But yeah, so the man or the dog. Now I was talking earlier, and I've said this before, about dogs being a man's best friend, because a man views a dog as a companion. A lot of times when women have dogs, the dogs are a replacement. The dogs are a replacement for a man or a child. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, not dogs. Dogs are a man's best friend. So when a man is looking at a situation from the outside looking in, the man's already knowing if he decides to date you, he's automatically going to be third. If the man sees you with your dog, treating that dog like your man or your child, he's automatically going to be third on the list. And most guys that are wise and prudent and got some sense, they're not going to put themselves in a position to be third. Now, some women have pets for other reasons, but a lot of the reasons I see for women having these dogs is a replacement for either men or children. So in other words, a lot of women get dogs because they're lonely, versus a man getting a dog as a companion. It's two different approaches to why they have the dog. But when it comes to dating, you'll hear guys say that, you know, when she has those dogs, that's a red flag. And I'm telling you all, ladies, why it's a red flag, because men know why you have the dog. Even Kevin Samuels would say, get a dog and die alone, because the dog is because you're going to be lonely. So dogs are a man's best friend. Dogs are not a woman's best friend. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. And so most men are probably not going to tell you all this, ladies. And you're wondering why you're so single, posting all those pictures of those dogs you have or dog you have. A man knows if I go to date her, she's going to put me third. What's up, Heather? She's going to put me third. The man knows, just like if a woman has a child, the man knows she's going to put the child before the man. Even though his responsibility will be the same as if it was still his child, she's still going to put the child before the man, so the man's automatically third. So if the woman has a pet and a child, the man's automatically fourth. And if she has a career, child, pet, the man's automatically fifth, because it's her, it's the child, it's the career, it's the pet, then it's him. So most men are going to steer clear of those types of situations. Now, women are going to say, well, the man must be insecure, or, you know, he can't handle a profession. All that's BS. The man has a responsibility of the household. The man has a responsibility of being a leader. So if he has the responsibility, he's not going to put himself in a situation where he got all the responsibility in the lowest position. I'll say it again. A man is rarely going to put himself in a position where he has all the responsibility and at the same time he's at the lowest position. That's not what he's going to do. Heather said, God first, then her husband. Amen. Now, what they tell you is that women are the prize. Tell me when it's worked as women being the prize. Before this transgender movement even came about, they was pumping up women. Think about it. They were telling women they were the prize. They were God's gift to the earth. They were better than men. They was all this stuff doing for women. Got women's chest all puffed up, and then slid in the transgenders. So when has women ever being the prize been good? When has a woman saying I'm the table ever been good? And the problem is, and what we don't realize is that all these agendas result in no families. They result in man and woman not getting together. So there are certain things that women do they just shouldn't do if they want to get with a good man. If they want to get with a good man. I recommend that all women, these are for women that aren't married. Some of you all are married, so they don't apply to you all. This is for women that aren't married and want to be married. What I recommend is that you all talk to men to see how men think. Talk to men to see how men think. Because the problem is, they're telling you that a man should think like you and you're a woman. That's absolutely ridiculous. You see, men don't expect women to think like men. Men expect women to not be overly emotional. Men expect women to listen to reason when it's presented. That's what men expect. Men don't expect women to think like men at all. It's not what men are asking. Men are asking, when logic needs to be applied, that you all apply the logic. That's really what men are asking. Men ain't asking y'all to think like men. But society's telling women that men need to think like women. And if a man doesn't think like a woman, then he's a male chauvinist or he's toxic, you know. So what I try to do is I try to give women an opportunity to hear this information from a man's perspective. Now, we already know that most of the content that women listen to as far as relationships is coming from people just want to get their money and their attention. You know, the pastor's not going to get them in front of that church and say, men, this is what you need to look for in a woman. She needs to do A, B, or she needs to be A, B, C. You're not going to see it. Because the moment that pastor mentions something that a woman has to do, that collection plate going to be dry. It's going to be dry. Now, this is a man, and I'm not married, and folks get mad because I'm not married, but you don't have to listen to me. I'm just telling you, I've seen a lot of failed marriages because the woman or the man did not do their due diligence. I talked to many women that was crying walking down the aisle, and everybody else thought they was crying because they were so happy. It's not why they was crying. They was crying because they knew they were about to make the worst decision in their life. That's why they were crying. They knew they were going to make the worst decision in their life, and that's why they were crying. And this side they're going to get rid of the Bible too. They're going to get rid of the Bible on the premise that God is the Father. They're going to get rid of the Bible on the premise that God is the Father. Because they're going to say the Bible's male chauvinistic. If the Bible's male chauvinistic, then it's a book that's been discredited by default. So they're going to get rid of the Bible just based on God being the Father. And then Father, Son, got two men, Holy Spirit. So they're going to get rid of the Bible because they're going to say it's a male chauvinistic book, even though God is not called the Father based on gender. God is not called the Father based on gender because God created man and woman in God's image. So God's not called the Father because God is a man. God is called the Father because of God's position in our lives. That's why God's called the Father. Because we get our identity from the Father. That's why God's called the Father. Because the identity comes from the Father. I've said this before. But let's get back on these dogs though. So when the man is watching you ladies, and you have these dogs, and you are treating these dogs like they are people, that is a turnoff for a man. And I know it sounds bad to say. I know it's hard to believe, but that is a turn off for a man. It is. I'm sorry, it is. So, I wish I could read these comments, but I'm driving. But yeah, so I'm not telling you all that you can't have a pet. I'm not telling you all that you can't get a dog. I'm just saying make sure you're getting the dog because you want the companion. Make sure you get the dog because you want a pet. Don't get the dog because the dog is feeling a void of loneliness. Don't get the dog because you feel lonely. Get the dog because you really want to have a companion that's a dog. I know what I'm saying sounds crazy. I know it sounds nuts, but that's my advice for you all. I see a lot of women on social media and they shooting themselves in the foot. And this is not a personal attack on any woman that got a pet. I'm just saying what men look at. Because what men look at is not what women look at. What men pay attention to is not what women pay attention to. It's not. Men have a whole separate set of criteria than women have when it comes to dating. What men look at is totally different. Man's gonna sit back and look, see how you interact, to see how you respond to certain questions, to see how you work out if you're at the gym, to see how you walk, see how you talk. A man is observing everything. A prudent man is observing everything. He's observing everything. So I'm not saying don't get a dog. I'm just simply saying that you shouldn't get a dog to fill that void. Nothing should be filling a void in your life. Nothing but God. Your void is filled with the Most High. That's how we feel. We don't fill voids with things of this world. You know, but dog is a man's best friend, and diamonds are a girl's best friend. Most women would pick the diamond ring over the dog every day of the week. But I just say these things because women need to hear this. Women need to hear the truth from a man's perspective. It doesn't matter if you think it's true. You need to hear how men think. You're not going to change the way men think. That's why they're trying to emasculate men so that a man's opinion isn't valid anymore. Because you won't be able to change the way a man thinks. So what you do is you just discredit men to the point where you no longer listen to them. It's all by design. All this stuff leads to the destruction of the family. All of it. They don't want man, woman, and child because that represents God on the earth. They don't want that to happen. They are literally pushing away real women. Now, many of you all can't see it, but when they start putting wombs, inside of men, that will spell the destruction of women. Listen to me. When they start putting wombs inside of men, that is going to spell the end of women. And the end of women is literally coming after the feminist movement, after the women's empowerment movement. Look how the devil slid everything in after all this women's empowerment. After all this girl power stuff, after all this stuff, the devil slid in transgender. You know why? Because they made you all so boastful and so prideful that you let your guard down. You let your guard down. That's what happened. You let your guard down. And when you let your guard down, now you got men talking about their men. And if a man is saying he's a woman, you have men saying that they're women. And if a man is saying that he's a woman, what he's really saying is he's a better woman than you. The man is going to say that he's a better version of a woman. You know, all these transgender men believe they are better versions of women than you. So just understand, this movement ends with you all being up under the transgender women. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds off the wall, but all this stems from them telling you that you're better than a man. Pride comes before the fall. So they make you prideful about something you shouldn't be prideful about. They make you prideful about something that you should not be prideful about, and then women are going to fall. And it's going to be a bunch of men having children. And if the men are having children, they're going to demonize women having children. They're going to make it so wonderful for you to have an abortion. They're going to almost tell you that you need to get rid of the child if you're a woman. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds insane, but they're going to tell y'all that a regular woman should not be having children. A natural woman should not be having children. A real woman should not be having children. That's going to be reserved for the men with the womb surgeries. I'm just telling you all what they're going to do. So just understand that at the end of all this, I'm not going to submit. I'm the prize. I'm the table. At the end of all of that, they're going to replace you. I had to come back because my phone overheated. I didn't get to finish my thoughts, what I wanted to say. So I was going to get my hair cut. But I'm back to finish my thought. And at the end of all of this stuff, at the end of women's empowerment, at the end of women's independence, at the end of I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar, at the end of it, it's you all being under the trans community. Y'all are going to be second-class citizens, and it's all coming from women are better than men. The devil is so crafty and so slick. Oh my goodness. Nobody would have knew that feminism, nobody would have knew that the goal of feminism was for the transgender to take over. Nobody would have thought that in 1,000 years. And yet, that's going to be the end result. Listen, I love you all, and hopefully you all can receive this message about the dogs. Dogs are a man's best friend. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. If you have a dog, ladies, just make sure you have the dog as a companion and not as a child substitute or as a male substitute. Make sure you have the dog because you really want a companion that's a dog. Because a man that's prudent and a man that's wise and the man that's critical thinking, he's going to look at you, he's going to say, what are the chances of me ever having a position over that dog? And he's going to come to the conclusion, he's going to say never, none. See, a man looks at a man and says, am I willing to be up under the dog? 99.9% of men are going to say no. Am I willing to take a back seat to this dog? Because the man knows when it comes to a relationship, it's the dog over him. The man's not going to do it. No man is going to sign up to be under a dog. He's not going to do it. So ladies, I hope I'm not offending you all. Hope you're not upset, but no man's going to pick to be under that dog. The man will pick to be under you, but not that dog. The man will pick to be second to you. He'll take that hit, but not that dog. He ain't going to do it. The man will pick to be third to you and the child or children, but not that dog. He ain't going to do it. The man might even pick to be fourth behind you, the child, and the career, but he's not going to pick to be fourth to that dog. He's not going to do it. I know it sounds crazy. Just talk to the women that are single, that have dogs, and ask them a question about the man coming into their life. These women talk freely about how they're not going to put that man over their dog. This is not nothing I'm saying. I know it sounds crazy, but talk to the single women that have these pets, and they're going to tell you, I'm not, that man coming into this picture, he's coming behind this dog. This dog first. Just telling you. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. This is why I say a lot of women that have these dogs remain single, because no man that knows his worth is going to put himself behind a dog. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. No man that knows his worth is going to put himself behind a dog. He's not going to do it. He's just not going to do it. I'm sorry. Not going to do it. So just make sure, ladies, if you have a dog, make sure that dog is your companion. Your companion, not your child substitute or your man substitute. Your companion. Not your man, not your child, your companion. If you view the dog as your child or as your man, you're going to put that dog above the man that's really in your life. Most men are not going to sign up for it. They're not. So I'm not saying you can't have pets. I'm just saying that make sure the pets are in a proper place. So make sure there's a spot for the man is still the spot for the man. The pet already has a spot, but it don't supersede the man's spot in the relationship or in your life. So I love you all. I thank y'all so much. Everything you done, y'all supporting me, my channel, supporting the show I do with Erica. We're trying to come up with a name. I just thank y'all for listening. Hope nobody's offended. This is all out of love. I just observed something and my spirit said talk about it, because a lot of women are out there and they're scratching their head to why they're not getting what they want. So if you're on a dating site, don't post that dog on that dating site. I'm sorry. Don't do it. Because the man, I'm telling y'all, because how y'all talk about the dog, the man already knows he's going to be behind the dog. I'm just telling y'all. And most of y'all don't even realize you're even doing it because you actually love the dog. I get it. You care about the dog. I get it. But the man still got to be the man in a relationship. He still got to be the man in a relationship. So he's not going to choose you. He ain't going to choose you because you already chose a dog. He's not going to choose you. So take what I'm saying out of love. That statement, get a dog and die alone, is a true statement. That's not just a statement said to be mean. It's a true statement because the dog is a substitute for loneliness for a lot of women. It's a true statement, especially the career woman that claims she don't have time to date. They claim she don't have time to do nothing, but she want to get married. That makes absolutely no sense to me. And let me say this too. When you're talking to somebody about relationships, relationships have to be as important as air. If you ask a person, male or female, how important are relationships, and they tell you anything other than air, food, and water, don't deal with them. Because in order to treat you how you need to be treated, they got to value relationships before they can even value you. So before you even come into the picture, they hold relationships in the highest regard. So when you ask that person how important are relationships, they better say relationships are like air, the air I breathe. Because that's the only way it's truly going to work. Somebody said my haircut look good. Thank you. But I love you all and thank y'all so much. All right.